all roads on LinkedIn lead you back to the LinkedIn profile. I've got a confession on this podcast that I need to update mine desperately. How can Michelle J. Raymond show up as somebody in a way that's different to everybody else? I fell in love with company pages about 5 years ago. Make it really clear, because clarity is what sells you to other people. And I think if you understand your customer more, then you can write the perfect profile that speaks to all of that. You then go, oh, that's me. They will like, they will comment more often, they will repost and save. We will never see the numbers of impressions that we saw historically. If you are only measuring success on your content that you post and the impressions that you get, it's going to be a sad year for you in 2026. It has to be fun on LinkedIn, because if it's not fun...
All right. Yet another episode of C2C, Coach to Coach Central, where we have raw and honest conversations about building a magic business. And by magic, I mean mentoring, consulting, coaching, teaching, and all of the above. I have a great guest today. I've been wanting for a while to have someone who is super specialist, expert in LinkedIn. And Michelle, my guest today, is the one. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm super excited, and I should have packed my magic wand to help everyone as well. So fun fact, I used to keep one on my desk when I worked in corporate land, because sometimes there were people asking for things. I was like, do you think I'm a fairy with a wand that can create magic? So I'm here for it.
Nice. Yeah, and I love this acronym. I played with Claude for a while. I'm like, I need a better word, because, when I call myself a coach, I think it's misleading if I call myself, any other thing. So I came up with magic, and now, I think it's so much fun. Like, first of all, I help magic people. My clients are magic, How cool is that?
Only wish that I'd come up with it, because one of the things I struggled with so much when I went from corporate land to becoming a business owner is trying to figure out what I would call myself. Was I the founder? Was I the CEO? Was I, a coach? And then someone would say, no, you can't be a coach unless you've done a something. And then I'd be like, but I like the word coach. And so, just coming up on what term I would use, I reckon that took over 12 months by the time I changed my business cards and my, email signatures so many times. And no one ever puts that out there and says, you know what, when you start a business, this is how much fun you're going to have deciding over things like what to call stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I still kind of what I do now is a little bit different from what I was doing before. I think I've changed my LinkedIn since the topic is LinkedIn, the LinkedIn banner and the LinkedIn description. I don't know. I wouldn't say 360 times, but many, many, many times.
Look, I am right there beside you. And for anyone that's listening, it's probably time to change it one more time before we go into the new year. And I know some people are out there probably going, but Michelle, what's the point? Lydia, why do you keep changing it? Why does it matter? And it matters because LinkedIn's algorithm has had a big change this year. And everything that we knew before, we kind of have to park that to the side. And things like having your LinkedIn profile all aligned so that the AI tools behind the scenes, like under the engine that are running LinkedIn now, they really need to know who you are in and really clearly. And quite often, I don't know about you, but we evolve over time. We change who we want to work with. We get smarter. We use tools like Claude to refine down who it is we want to work with. And we forget to update our LinkedIn profile. So this is like a friendly reminder for your listeners. If you haven't updated it for a little while and it no longer reflects who you are, you're going to confuse the LinkedIn algorithm. And that's the last thing we need in 2026.
Quick practical question. I really love to discuss big issues, but also get practical in these episodes. So, description, I'm here with you. So what do you think about banner? First of all, there is, you can put just the stale one, just one picture. You can put the slides. It's kind of carousel or a slideshow. And I see different people do different things. Some people just put it there, and again, it might be even outdated or whatever. Some people actually use it as the real estate to promote a launch, a book, a new thing, new episode coming up of the podcast. So what's your take on how do you treat the banner?
I like to treat it like it's a billboard on the side of the road that you're going to drive past. So, and if you think about when you're driving, normally those billboards are on the side of like freeways or motorways, whatever you like to call them, and you're going fast. So you're not really paying attention for that long. You've only got a few seconds before it disappears, and you want to get that message really quickly. So for me, I always remember that people are looking at my profile mostly like 80% of the time on a mobile device, small screen. And if you've got old lady eyes like mine, it's getting harder and harder to see small things. I normally have my glasses on as well, but for this recording, I don't. But, for me, think about fewer words, but big message, and let the person that's driving past your profile get the message that they're in the right spot, you have what they want, and you're their kind of person, all within those few seconds. So I normally say leave it to like 5 or 6 words maximum, because I think when you start adding a lot more text, it becomes harder to squish it all in. Yeah. Whether you have a carousel, that's available to people who pay premium, so you can have up to 5 banners. Now, I've got a confession. I've got a confession on this podcast that I need to update mine desperately, and I do pay for premium, and I can't even get 1 done, let alone 5 done. And I know I'm not meant to say that because I am the LinkedIn expert, but I am not a graphic design expert. And so I always tend to leave these things till later, and I make sure that all my clients, they've done theirs. But for mine, it's something that I'm thinking about right now. How do I want to show up and be different to everybody else that's out there that might also be a LinkedIn expert? How can Michelle J. Raymond show up as somebody in a way that's different to everybody else? And so I want to have a think about it before I just jump in and throw anything there. But if you have nothing, just go to Canva, type in the, LinkedIn cover image or something, LinkedIn banner, I think it is, and they will come up with lots of examples for you. Just take one and put it there. So it kind of just shows people you're actually home and you're open for business.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you. I tried to have the slideshow, and I never did it on mobile. So I do need, I don't even know how it would look on mobile. That's a bad habit of mine, because I work only on my desktop.
There you go.
Because I spent, when I was big on Instagram a long time ago, I spent so many hours on my phone. A, it ruined my eyes. B, it just means you never stop working as a solopreneur, again, coach, mentor. If you work on your phone, that means like you never leave your work. So at some point, I put a very strict boundary that when I'm not traveling or anything, I only work on my laptop. That's it. My phone is not for work. It's for fun. It's for friends. It's for whatever. So,
I could really take that advice. I think that's good advice for me to take into 2026, because you're right. These programs are designed to keep us on there 24/7, coming back for more. I do that. I say it's work.
Comments are coming nonstop, right? 24/7. But I think I'm going to take away from this conversation that I forget to check my profile, my post, my sales page, whatever I'm putting out there, forgetting that I think 80% or maybe even more people would probably do that on mobile. So that's a good reminder.
Yeah, they do. And just one quick thing while we're talking about the banner on your LinkedIn profile, it will actually display differently on the desktop versus what you see on your mobile phone. So it's important to make sure that it looks good on both. And unfortunately for us, because it doesn't display the same, it's not quite so simple. So if you optimize it for the phone first, it will look good on the desktop, but not the other way around. But from that perspective, it really is worth the effort. So I'm someone that doesn't want LinkedIn to take over your life, especially if you are one of these small business owners, because at the end of the day, you've got so many things that you've got to get done. How do I know this? Because I'm in the same position doing the same stuff. And for me, LinkedIn has to serve you and get you closer to those business goals. And there's so many things on there that can distract you and take you away from that. And so it's really important to try and keep an eye on what will make a difference, and updating your LinkedIn profile is something that will make a difference. And I tell my clients, like, once you do it once, you probably don't have to touch it for a couple of years or maybe tweak it here and there. But once it's updated, and if you get stuck and need help, like, there's people like me that can help you with that kind of stuff. And, just it is a worthwhile investment, because it is literally all roads on LinkedIn lead you back to the LinkedIn profile, whether you post content, whether you write a comment, whether you connect with someone, whether you're sending messages, everybody comes back to your profile. So it's really the thing that has to be updated.
It is like, your sales page or the main page of your website. Like, and if you're spending a lot of time and effort on LinkedIn, posting, commenting, going live, whatever you're doing there, you want the highest ROI, right? You want the highest return, and for that, your profile need to be in all the proper places. Well, let's talk about that. And I have a couple of specific questions, because I've seen what you talk about, other people don't. So I really want to kind of talk about them. For example, how important for us magicians, magic business owners, solopreneurs, how important to have the business page, and not just have, right? Like, I think you have to have it, for example, if you want to run ads and stuff like that. But how important to actually keep it live, post there, like tell all about it.
Look, the thing for your listeners, that when they're scrolling on LinkedIn, most of them will come across advice that will tell them specifically company pages are a waste of time. That is the most popular answer that you will get. And if you've heard that, which, you'll see it if you scroll for 5 minutes on LinkedIn, someone will be saying it's a waste of time. So that's one way of looking at it. But I prefer to look at what's the competitive advantage of doing things that other people won't do that can help your small business grow. And so this is where I fell in love with company pages about 5 years ago, is that I realized everybody has a great profile. They were all putting out content. And that's great, but I work with people globally, and it was getting to a point where, of course, you like me, you might even trust me because you've seen my content for a while. But when it comes to actually forking out money to give me to buy my services, you want to make sure exactly that you are going to get what you expect, that I'm a real business on the other side of the world, and that it's safe to send you my money. Now, in that case, having a company page makes you look like it's a legitimate business. Now, you might think, oh, nobody really looks at it, because when I do a post on my company page, if you're doing them, you'll get very, very little engagement. And I'm not here to change anybody's mind about that. That is the facts of LinkedIn. But if you think about it, it's like a website landing page that people come and visit when they're in buying mode, when they really want to know something and they're checking you out just before that final part of the sale, then that's where they're going to go to as well. And you might think, are you sure, Michelle? Well, here's the thing. If they Google your business name and find you that way, so not even through LinkedIn search, if they find you via Google and type in your business name, then your LinkedIn company page will show up in some of the top 5 results on average, sometimes higher, sometimes a little bit lower, but definitely towards the top half of the first Google search results. Now, people pay a lot of money to show up there. They'll go to your website. Of course, there's nothing bad to see on anybody's website. It's all sunshine and fairies and it's amazing. But they'll go to your company page and see, what's going on in this business right now as of today. If they come across, you have 2 choices. Roll out the red carpet and welcome them, or you can show it like a ghost town and they're going to wonder, are you really still open for business? And I know which one I'd rather choose. Am I spending a lot of time and effort on my company page? No, I'm not. There's no return on that. but I keep it ticking over. And that's what I recommend to the listeners of the podcast. Keep it ticking over.
Yeah, no, it's really, I think, valuable advice, especially if you work in kind of high ticket, right? So people will need to pay you lots of money, or if you're working with corporates, right? If you want to work B2B, right, where you are the expert, I think then it becomes kind of even more important if you want to sell your services to companies, then someone else, will be looking, definitely be looking at the company profile, and it's just, I think it's a quick kind of tick mark, a quick bonus advantage that you can have versus someone who doesn't. So totally, valuable thing. Now, in terms of just, again, selfishly, to be practical and specific. So you said you don't spend a lot of time there. Is it the same? Do you cross post, or do you post something different there, even if it's not there often, but like,
Yeah. So I call my company page my greatest hits album. And for those of you who aren't as old as I am, so I'm 49, a Gen Xer. So if you're younger than this, think about Spotify
I'm the same
playlists.
age. I'm the
Think
same
about
age.
Spotify.
I'm 49.
Exactly. So you're on the same page. So if we go back, we used to have like albums would come out, CDs back when I was buying them, even a few records if I go back far enough. But ultimately, what would happen was when they would normally come out, there'd be 3 songs that I really liked, and the rest of the songs were like, but you had to buy the whole thing just to get it. Now, from that perspective,
I have some
after
CDs
that,
here.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So what would happen was when the artist got big enough, they would release a greatest hits album. And I used to live for them because it just meant it was all the really good songs that you knew that you loved, and none of the, filler tracks that just kind of pumped it all up. So think about your company page like that. It doesn't have to be full, but you can repurpose the greatest hits from your personal account and build up a library of them over on your company page. And it can be as simple as just reposting as your company page your personal post. It can be, taking a personal post and uploading it as an original post over on your company page, 3 weeks later. Some content, it will work if it, as we say, like evergreen content lasts for a long time. But what I find on LinkedIn, Lydia, is most people actually put so much effort into a post. And I think that posts take at least an hour for most people from the time we come up with an idea to it actually goes out there. And for many people listening, it might even be longer than that. And then we just post it once and go, there you go, everybody's seen it, done. And then they put more and more effort into creating more and more content. And it just sits in the online drawer, gathering dust and never to be seen again, because we think if we told people once, we don't want to bother them and tell them again. But the fact is, most people won't have seen it. So find ways that you can repurpose what you've already got, because again, you're most likely time poor, and we've got to make sure that we're efficient on LinkedIn and effective. And this is one of the simplest ways you can do it. And the beauty is, whether you have one person in your business or you have, like some of my clients, 15,000 employees, we get all the same features on company pages. You get the same space, you get to put all the same types of content out, and nobody looks and says, oh, that's just a business of one person versus 15,000. They just look and go, is that good content designed for me that will help me get closer to my goals? And if the answer is yes, they don't care where it came from. They just love that it helped them.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. I think this is the second kind of item now on my to-do list. So
sorry about that.
No, it's really good. It's really good because I focused on LinkedIn this year, and I think I've seen it on your page as well, the favicon roundup for 2025. First of all, congratulations. You got some great results. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go and check out. The link will be down below. I've done mine, and I've seen really, really good results versus kind of 2024. So I'm going even more in. So anything that can help, definitely belongs to the to-do list.
Yeah, look, and just keep in mind, as I said, LinkedIn's changed the engine that drives everything behind
Yeah.
the scenes. And it's based on the large language models like ChatGPT and Claude and all those kind of things used. And so it's learning all the time about you. And so the more that accurate information that we can give the algorithm and the search, then the more that they can actually connect you with the right people, make sure your content lands in the right place. And so these things really are worth the effort right now. Company page, of course, on your personal profile, we've spoken about the two of them work together and reflect on you as a whole. And I always think, even if you don't think that it's a lot of value for your business right now, you might have plans to grow your business and have more employees in the future or sell your business down the track. And if that's the case, grow it now when you don't need it, because when you do is not the time to start trying to grow it, because they're slow and can be painfully slow. And so from that perspective, the more time you give yourself, the better. So there can be lots of different reasons they can be helpful. But from that perspective, just make sure that, look at it as your greatest hits library. And it's something that the right audience that you want to work with would come there and go, I can't believe I missed out on all of this stuff. This is the best.
Yeah, no, totally. Now, I have one more question on the profile, and then we'll move to, the changes, the algorithm, and some of the other changes that people who are focusing on LinkedIn in 2026 need to take into account. And you had an amazing newsletter outlining these twists. So I wanna touch on a couple of them, and then if folks want more, definitely go and read that newsletter. All right. One more thing that's kind of, again, selfishly, I'm thinking the featured section, right? I think, this is one of the best after the banner and the description, the bio, whatever you call it. I think I usually jump in when I check out other people profiles. The next thing I check is the featured section. Because it's a nice way to see, okay, so what's going on right now? Like, this is the permanent file. This is kind of what's hot, what's going on, what I can take as a next step. That's what I look at it. So any suggestions for the featured section? I've heard, again, controversial advice like keep it just 2 or 3. There can be more. Recommendations you can put, if you're a premium user, you can put the recommendation there. You can put, newsletter profile. Do you take people off the platform right away, kind of to your list? Anything that could be useful about that featured section.
Yeah, you're so right. And they're like the mini billboards. So we've got the big one up at the top of the page, and then these are like your little mini ones. And I don't think there is one answer that is perfect for everybody that's out there. And it's always good when you're on LinkedIn to take a little bit about, say, what you're learning from this podcast, go away and try it and see what's working for you. And I always say, start with your business goals. So there might be some people out there that their business goal is, we want to grow our newsletter. And so from that perspective, use the featured section to highlight your newsletter. So you can direct people off the platform and get signups if that's what your goal is. Other people might have a YouTube channel or a podcast like this one, and that's your priority. You want to get more listeners or more view time. And so in that case, having a featured post, which sits at the top of the profile and looks really cool. I really like that area. And so you can direct people to, hey, if you're visiting my profile, these are the things that are important to me that I've aligned to my business goals, that I want to direct your mind somewhere. So having recommendations on there as social proof, for some people, it might be really worthwhile. And again, it comes down to what you're working on right now. So I often think, if there's a particular piece of business that I'm trying hard to win right now, sometimes I'll go and sneakily change some of my featured section with that person in mind, just in case that business is coming to have a look at my profile. So there might be the person that really likes me and they've followed my content for a long time, and they've spoken to someone else in the business, and they're like, who's this person? Who's this Michelle that you keep raving on about? And they come, and I want to make sure that they really get the best perception of me that they can and my business. And also sometimes I want them to book a call with me. You know, I measure my success on LinkedIn by how many calls I'm having each week. And I would say right now, over the last, probably 4 or 5 months, it's been really hard. So if you are using LinkedIn and not getting a lot of people reach out, like, I just want to put it out there. The same thing's happening to me. I am not immune to what's going on out there in the world. And so doing things like this and making it clear for people when they land on your profile, make it really clear, because clarity is what sells you to other people. They need to understand what you do, who you do it for, and what makes you different. And that featured section, if you haven't updated it for a little while, can be a great way to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also see, and I call it kind of the trust crisis for us, for coaches, mentors, magic business owners. It's harder. So it probably takes longer for them to book that call with you, even if it's a free call. So I think it might be, and again, it might not be, but I feel like it might be too soon to put that, book a call with me link right there. Maybe what I decided that, and I've seen how clients came to me, majority of clients, through something else. First, they read the newsletter. First, they subscribe to newsletter. First, they join my free either webinar, or I do sprints, kind of short challenges, 7-day challenges. They see me, they experience me. Now, they trust, they like, they know me better, and then they book a call with me. So I'm not even putting the book a call in the featured section, because I just notice it just nobody uses it, or even one person uses this. It's taking this premium real estate. I'd rather have 100 people on my list from that section, and then few of them booking the call with me. What do you say?
And this is the perfect example of knowing what works for your business and your audience. I know my podcast listeners mostly become my clients. And so for me, the more people I can get to listen to the podcast, the more people I know will become clients. That's just how it's all worked out in, all of my content that goes out there. And so this is the thing. You need to understand what's going on in your business right now. What are your strengths? And then from there, then work out how do you use LinkedIn to highlight those strengths. And the people listening to this, you might have something completely different that you're amazing at. And don't think that because we haven't mentioned it for the featured section that you shouldn't do it. I know newsletters are quite popular with lots of people as they want to own their own lists, as social media becomes a little bit trickier as time goes on. And things like AI are impacting everything that we do. And so from that perspective, just think about what's your business goal right now and how can LinkedIn help you achieve that goal. And when you use LinkedIn in that way, and then think about who is that audience in real clarity so that they know that they're in the right place, and you create a profile that helps make decisions easier for that person, then that's the winning combination. But does it look like thou shalt use it exactly Michelle J. Raymond's way or Lydia's way? No, it doesn't. And so if you ever see anybody on LinkedIn that promises the world, steal my workflow, this will work for everybody, like, run the other way.
Oh my God. Step-by-step instruction. You don't have to think.
It just, I wish that there was a one size fits all and we all had to do it in one way and that guaranteed success, but it really just doesn't. And quite often these people that promise things like that, and you'll see them, this is what happens. They write a post and they'll say, comment to get my playbook. And if someone ever says, comment to get my playbook, where you have to say one word, run the other way, because here's what happens. You leave the word that they say, that's picked up by their AI automation tools, which are against LinkedIn's terms of use.
Yep.
So they risk losing their whole account, which is crazy. You then go into another automated funnel where you are going to get bombarded with false promises, saying, oh, come and use this tool and join our engagement pod and all this other rubbish. And that's when I run the other way, because people unfortunately spend a lot of money going down and thinking, oh, this will be so easy. It just doesn't work. I'd be doing it if it did.
Yes, no, I'm with you on that one. And also, again, because I know my audience are magic, so people who work with other people, even in corporate world. So trust is the most valuable from the know, like, and trust combination, right? Because it's very personal, right? As a consultant, as a mentor, as a coach, it's very, very personal. So if you use these things, automations, like, and start spamming people with those DMs, oh God, obviously, what sort of trust can this establish? So for us, it's way more important the quality of the posting, of communication, the integrity versus the volumes. We're not in a volume business. I don't know for whom it's important, but definitely not for us, 100%.
Yeah, look, I think you've said all of that really well. And it's just a big ditto from me. I absolutely agree with that because we are building that trust with people. And in an online world where if we break trust, I don't think you can ever repair it in an online world. It might be different with friendships or close family relationships or things, partners or things like that. You can go and repair it. But I think in an online world, we've got 1.3 billion members on LinkedIn. Like if you break my trust, I don't have to care because there's, 25 other people that are selling, or in my case, probably 3,000 other people that are selling similar services. And that's probably a similar thing for a lot of your listeners that are here today, that we are in competitive spaces. There are other people offering what we do. And we have to do the thing that means that we stand out compared to our competitors. And, not breaking trust is the most critical piece. And I know other people would promise you that saving time and being more productive is what you should focus on. And it sounds like the dream, doesn't it, Lydia? Like, just pay me this money, I'll automate everything, and you'll just sit back and get all of the new leads from LinkedIn. Like, sign me up and take my money. Like, honestly, I'm lazy. If it worked, they would have my money. I would be sitting, by the pool having a cocktail going, I don't have to do anything. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and coaches are easy prey because I've met my clients so many times told me, Lydia, we love coaching. We hate this marketing thing or content thing or whatever, social
Or
media
selling.
thing. Or it, well, so some of them, but I think that first part. So they are easy prey because they say, give me the leads. We want leads. We can have the discovery call, sales conversation. That's okay. Because I think, a lot of coaches, not a lot, every coach should be the best sales person because selling is understanding the need, listening very carefully, and then offering what will solve that need. How is it different from coaching? So coaches should be really good at this. If they don't have the bad reputation that selling is about pushing something down the throat and being aggressive and always be closing and all that crap. But I think the first part, that's where, like, pretty much close to 100% of coaches that I've met, they said, if we could, we would skip that part, the content creation, the outreach, any of that part. And that's why they become very easy prey for people who selling them all those automation solutions that don't work.
Yeah, look, and the thing is, most people got into consulting or similar types of business coaching, that type of stuff, because there's something that we're really good at and we're really passionate about that we know we can help other people with. And I didn't realize that when I was going to set up my business, back nearly 6 years ago now, that I was going to be spending, if I'm lucky, 20% of my time a week doing the thing that I love. And the rest of the time was generating enough interest to get enough people through the door that would convert into paying clients. And so things like whether it's writing content. And I call it selling when you're reaching out and connecting with people and having those conversations up front. Most people are fine when someone reaches out and says, I'm interested. That's the easy part because you're passionate about it. You know your product inside out. And for most people, that's the easy part. But the part where their brain says to them, I don't want to be one of those people that sends DMs all day and spams people. I don't want to bother people. I am not salesy. I don't want to come across as this. Insert whatever your thing is.
I'm not creative. I don't know. I don't have ideas. It's already been said. I mean, there are so many things about the content part as well.
Exactly. And our brains just shut down those actions because we think it's all been said before, or we don't want to bother people, and all those kind of things that our brains do to protect us and keep us safe, which is the exact opposite to what is going to help you grow your business on LinkedIn. And the trick then becomes is how do we get our brain in the right place to be able to take those actions and get back to something that makes us comfortable and that we want to do it and we enjoy it, because it has to be fun on LinkedIn. Because if it's not fun, then here's what happens. Oh, I'm busy. That's the classic. I'm busy is the best line that every small business owner can say so that they don't have to do the things that they don't want to do. Because look over here, I'm really busy on this thing. And if LinkedIn is your source of getting leads for your business because you know your audience is there, you can't afford to put this off. And how do I know this? Because I've been distracted for a couple of months in the second half of this year myself with some other stuff that's not even related to LinkedIn, but it was important and I needed to do it. But what happens is if I don't have other systems or things in place, then when I turn my head the other way and it all stops, then I realize that a few months down the track, because all my existing business is booked in, but the new business isn't coming through. And so it's really important to do something you enjoy so that you can do it long term, because this is, as we would always say, the marathon, not the sprint. This thing doesn't even have a finish line. I don't know what's even longer than a marathon. Like, we're just going to be like Forrest Gump running backwards and forwards across America. We're just going to get to one side and go back to the other. Like that's literally what this is like, as long as you have your business and that's where you know your audience is. And that can be draining. If it's not something that you enjoy or see no value in, it will be hard work. And that's why tools that automate things seem so appealing. I get it. But if you come back to smaller numbers, greater focus, it really just takes a lot of that pain away.
Unfortunately, there are so many of those offers that people are like, there are so many, so it must be working, which is BS. No, it's not working. Please. Okay, I wanna jump into kind of what's changed. And know, a lot changed. You already started talking about the 360 brew, is it called? Basically, it's the new algorithm that utilizes large language model to collect everything about you, what you do, how you do. And it will impact what happens with your posts, with your profile, right? Am I kind of explaining it right in simple terms?
Yeah, you absolutely are. It's no different to when we're feeding data into large language models to spit out something at the other end. LinkedIn's trying to do that. So it's trying to make sure that you enjoy your time on LinkedIn, that you're connected to the right people, that your content's being seen by the people that it thinks it would be best for. Now, that could be very different to what you think if we don't do the updates that we've spoken about earlier in the podcast. And so it becomes really important. Now, I am not a huge fan of being someone that says, if you go and do this, it'll keep the LinkedIn algorithm happy and your posts will get seen by more people. I tend to run the other way, because what has happened is we've lost track of doing customer research and learning more about our customers and what makes them tick, what keeps them up at night, what are they trying to achieve, what words do they use, what demographics maybe are important in some particular industries. What would they describe their pain points as? And I think if you understand your customer more, then you can write the perfect profile that speaks to all of that. You can write content more easily because you just go, I keep getting asked these 10 questions all the time by people, or I see people that I'm coaching that have these 3 things and they always want this outcome. Everyone wants to lose weight. I'm a personal trainer. Is it diet, exercise, whatever your thing is? So just make it really clear that what you are there for on LinkedIn is to serve these people. And that is just, how I view selling. I've worked in B2B sales for, 25 years or something. I've lost track. But, from that perspective, it was always right product, right price, right time. And just make it really easy for your audience to understand. Are they in the right place? And if that answer is yes, then it just makes that process so much easier, because then they'll reach out and book a call. And instead of getting on a call where you have to go, oh, sorry, I'm not the right person, or they're not going to be the right fit when you're working with them. That's the difference between me now and 5 years ago. Lydia, the stories I could tell you about my early clients that were such a wrong fit that I hated what I was doing. It was awful for everybody. And it wasn't them. It was just the wrong match. Whereas now I've created a brand on LinkedIn that attracts the most amazing clients, and I get to do the work that I love. And, this is my wish for everybody that's listening to this podcast, that you get to do the same.
So I guess kind of summarizing that part, yes, the algorithm, with the fancy new name has changed, but, if you are in the game of tricking the algorithm, then please, go and listen or read those folks who will now explain you what change, how you can trick that. We're here. We're not in that camp. We are here in the traditional kind of marketer camp, where who's your client, what is the problem, what's your solution, and that's it. And the more you talk about this in a more specific way, a better way, the way your client understands it. From another guest in my podcast, I learned she used the term bilingual. Like, coaches need to become bilingual because they need to, they have their own language, the professional language, the coach language, and they need to learn the language of the clients, how they name the problem, how they search for solutions. So become bilingual, use it in your content, and just stop worrying about the algorithm.
That is that is an absolutely brilliant way to describe this. And the more you speak their language, like I said, everything becomes easier. How to write your LinkedIn profile, what goes on your banner, what is the content that you want to put out there. It's easy because you don't have to come up with the ideas, because you've already done it, because you've had a conversation with someone. It could be on an introduction call with someone where they're telling you why they reached out or what their questions were. Listen to what they are sharing from that perspective. And realistically, as LinkedIn shared, 12 months ago, before the technology underneath the hood changed, it's all about building out knowledge and advice. And it's for one audience on one topic. And ultimately, it's generating conversations. So if you think about how can you generate a conversation around your topic for one particular group of people, then that's all it is. And stay on that track and keep serving them and be that expert in that field. And you can overcomplicate it all you like, but I don't think that it's going to make that much difference than if you actually concentrate on your customer. Because when you concentrate on your customer, the easy part is they then see it. They then go, oh, that's me. They will comment more often. They will repost and save just naturally, because they feel like you can see them and that you're specifically talking to them. And that's what the algorithm wants. So you don't have to worry about, oh, do I need to make a post 800 characters or 1200 or 200 or, and
or a certain structure or a certain format.
Exactly. The more you read these reports, I could probably, give you 5 different links to 5 different reports One of them in particular says, don't do polls, they're rubbish. The other one that I can give you says that polls are amazing and an untapped, resource. And I can show you others that would say neither of those things work. Go to video if you listen to LinkedIn. And if you go to someone else, so honestly, do they know what they're talking about? No. Do they have a vested interest in trying to get you on board to listening? Sure, they do. Like, they're running businesses at the end of the day. So take a little bit. It's fun to learn. It's, you can have an interest in the algorithm and how it works. Listen to the people from LinkedIn. They really are the best people to guide you. And for everything else, just kind of nod along and say, okay, that, and look at it from, how could I experiment to try different things that maybe you haven't tried before? And when you use it like that, it can work because you can discover what works for your audience. Because if I follow these things, I actually do probably the opposite to what most of them tell me. Like, everyone would say, don't go long format because everyone's got short attention spans. My best performing content every week is my LinkedIn newsletter, which is probably a 6-minute read. And they say, don't use polls. Polls always work really well for engagement for me, like every single time. So from that perspective, always work. If you don't want to write content, don't have to. Go and do commenting these days. It works really well on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on commenting. I think people still underestimate how cool commenting is, and that, it takes less time for me because, you don't have to come up with a topic. Right? Someone already put it in a post. Someone already spent an hour or so. You can spend 5 minutes and write really thoughtful comment. So, it's quicker. Secondly, if you do this for people who have way greater audience that you have, you can get multiples of views you would get on your post. How cool is that?
I was just going to say that you're absolutely right. Like, instead of spending an hour, you can spend 5 minutes, and the results really are there and we can measure them now. That's like a big change in 2025, that we can now actually measure these things. But yeah, like, if we're looking to save time, go and add to somebody else's conversation, and you're going to stand out to their audience. Like, yes, yes, and yes. Again, from me, Lydia, like, you just nailed it.
Yeah. And still, again, we have to think the biggest misconception I see in my clients, they confuse themselves with content creators. A lot of advice that is out there for social media, LinkedIn included, is for content creators whose main goal to grow audience. You are coaches, consultant. Your main goal is to get clients. That's a different goal. That means different action.
I think you and I are twins. I think I finally found someone that I'm like, yes, I'm thinking and saying all of these things all the time with people, because they are two very, very different things. And I talk about LinkedIn to grow a business. And, and that's probably why there are people that take shortcuts and are looking for those playbooks and all that. Like, I'm not your person, because when I'm working with my clients, then like you, we go back to the fundamentals of whether it's marketing or whether it's social selling, and things like getting your positioning right, or getting your messaging right, or doing your customer research. These things, like, people skip over because they're so worried, like, oh, my post has got to be this long, or, this person now says that I should respond and comment to my own post, and somebody else says that I should do this. And so you're so worried about that we've skipped over the things that are really important. Like, how are you going to stand out from all of your competition? What makes you so different? And that's probably a question that, if people could answer it, and it's a difficult question, it's one that I'm struggling with again, because it's probably the 4th time that I'm going through, okay, Michelle, you did it the first year, you were this. And then the 3rd year you went back because you grew and changed and didn't like it. And now we're up to year 5, nearly 6. And I feel like, I want to be different in 2026 because I've, different clients in mind, and the world's changed, and so from that perspective, I've got to change, and I'm looking at it, and I know when I nail exactly how I'm different and who I want to be there for, then the clients will just come so much easier than what it is when I'm trying to be everything to everyone and worried about, will I get 1,000 impressions or 2,000 impressions or 3,000? LinkedIn are just not rewarding us like that anymore. That you can park in 2025. We will never see the numbers of impressions that we saw historically ever happen again on LinkedIn. Those days are long gone. We might have some spikes from time to time, but if you are only measuring success on your content that you post and the impressions that you get, it's going to be a sad year for you in 2026.
Yeah, I say, well, it's possible metric for us service providers, but not the key metric. Like your key metric, number of leads, number of conversation you started, the number of clients you get. I'm sorry, these are the important things. All the rest is vanity. Yeah, it's nice that your post went viral, or it's nice that you got so many comments. One thing I wanted to mention, because you said, your ideal client will like, comment, and share. Not always, right? There are
True.
some niches. For example, that are sensitive. For example, menopause or perimenopause. I have clients who are menopause coach.
Yeah.
I don't think her clients are going to comment, like, or share her post on LinkedIn, but they will DM her. They will connect with her and DM her. There are other areas where people will not indicate their interest in LinkedIn because their employers are watching, because their colleagues are watching, because they see LinkedIn as a professional resume thing, and they don't want the personal stuff like the weight or things like that appear. So I just want to mention that again, if you're a content creator, you will be only after likes, comments, shares, and stuff, but not us.
Yeah. Important distinction. And I appreciate you like making that, because it really is important. And I just had the best example of that happen for me just over the weekend. A reminder to me, even though I've been on LinkedIn for 10 years and doing this, that there are so many more people watching than that actually engage. And the way this played out, a friend of mine who I haven't seen in 3 years, he lives nearby, but for whatever reasons, we just haven't caught up in that time. And so we got together on the weekend and I was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long, blah, 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 blah. And he says to me, Michelle, I've seen you. You eat Tim Tams every Friday, your YouTube this, your podcast that. And he starts reciting everything. He's been watching my content. I'd forgotten we were even connected together on LinkedIn. And for 3 years, this guy, and I was shaking him going, you could let me know you're there sometimes. He's a friend of mine. And he goes, yeah, I see your stuff all the time. Like, it's so good. Rah, 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 rah. And I was like, oh my God, Michelle, here's your reminder again that for everything you see, there's probably another 10 people that you don't see. And we know that the majority of people will never know they exist, but every time they tend to be the ones that end up becoming clients because they're watching, they're remembering, you're going into their memory bank for when they need your services. And it may not be today, might be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? And then they pop up. And so this is the, I guess, reminder to people who might be feeling like, is it all worth it? I should just give up. Everybody else is getting lots more likes and comments. I really appreciate that you brought that up, because it is an important reminder to people that that's not the measure of success at all.
Yeah, again, I'm overachiever, been all my life, obviously, A+ student. So when you see those likes and comments, you're like, yes, done it. But I just have to always remind myself that this is good, but this is not the most important thing.
Yeah. And for all the other overachievers out there, like, I've got my hand up as well. Like, I mean, these things, social media algorithms are designed to give us little dopamine hits every time we do it. and make us addicted. And that's why we keep coming back. And I've been reading a lot of research. It's just like gambling and all of the, we call them poker machines, slot machines. I'm not sure what they're called in your part of the world, but that gambling. And it's exactly the same psychology where we'll give you little wins here and there and you'll keep coming back, and then you won't have a win for a while, which makes you want to do it more. And then you'll get a big win.
You start craving.
Exactly. And, I'm going to be honest, here with the listeners, I knew this, but I can tell you how I felt when my numbers had been consistently the same numbers for the best part of 8 or 9 years, and they dropped by half and not as many people were seeing it and commenting and all that stuff. It rocked me to my core. I'm not going to lie. Like I want to normalize this for people out there, because people go, oh, Michelle, you've nearly got 30,000 followers. You don't know what it's like. Yeah, I'm a human. I'm an overachiever just like you. I like to be the best at everything that I do. And to go from a certain number, which had always been my numbers, give or take here or there, but fairly consistent, I questioned what was wrong with me. And the answer is, after 2 months of soul searching and sitting there thinking I should throw everything away because that's what I do. I go, well, if I'm not the best, I'm not going to do it, and I have a dummy spit. But I had to just go, that's not a measure of who I am as a person. And it's not a measure of what I deliver for my customers. And it's not a measure of success, full stop. And so for anyone that's thinking, maybe I want to give up, I've been there. Like it literally has taken me the best part, if I'm being really honest, probably 3 months to get myself back into a place where I can actually show up again on LinkedIn and just go, this is how it is now. So yeah, it has been rough. I haven't enjoyed it at all, but coming off that addiction and that high of things being a certain way and having it taken away, I didn't realize. And I know I'm not alone, because I just read everybody's posts on LinkedIn and it's all doom and gloom. And I think it's just, we were addicted to it.
And some people did give up. They're like, oh, LinkedIn is no longer my platform, and they just give up. And I was amazed. But now, as you tell me, I think I got a little bit immune. I started my first, it was Facebook and Instagram. Oh my gosh, like 12 years ago. So it was really a long time. So I think I did go through this ups and downs there. And I got a little bit through the same crisis, so I got a little bit immune. And because I look at, help other people, I managed to kind of stay a little bit outside. But yeah, totally. All right, I want to be respectful of your time. I have blitz, so 3 questions. I'm really curious, but I'm going to ask you, and please short answer. If people want to learn more, they can go find you on LinkedIn and ask for more. First, video on LinkedIn. Yes, no, maybe.
2 thumbs down for me. Video, short form video on other platforms, go for it. They're set up for it. LinkedIn can't find their way, so it's a no from me. Add it in as the mix, just like your other content, but it's certainly not taken off like LinkedIn had promised.
Yeah, definitely not the vertical thing that they were trying to TikTok us. All right,
they tried.
They did. Okay, second, LinkedIn newsletters. Yes or no?
Huge fan. Yes. Company page and personal profiles, assuming that you've got at least 2,000 followers and have some kind of process set up on LinkedIn, but they get discovered by Google's, AI summaries, and they also get discovered by large language models as well as building subscribers. So yes.
Perfect. Again, if people want to ask more about it, because a lot of people say no to LinkedIn newsletters, they don't work, we need to deplatform and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, want to learn more, you know where to find. Okay, the last one. So what is, I don't know, the number one thing? We already discussed a lot, but, one thing, if people are staying on LinkedIn 2026, what is the one thing they need to kind of double down on?
I think they have to double down on customer research and therefore improving their messaging which will impact, like I said, your profile. It will impact the content you do, the types of messages that you're sending, who you want to connect with. I think the more that you can do that and the better clarity you get, you're going to stand out in a crowded marketplace where we're not getting as much visibility anymore. And I think that's going to be the most important thing. I don't think that there will be any feature or function that will come through in the next year that is going to be a game changer. The only thing that we'll see is people paying to play, which will just make it even worse for us. But getting that clarity up front and doing your customer research, that's the thing that other people won't do. And I'm always looking for, what is everyone else doing? What aren't they doing? I'm going to do the thing that they're not doing. And I don't think that people do enough listening to their customers. And when you show up in service of those people, like that's where the magic happens. So, to the people out there that are creating magic in the world with their clients, listen to them. They're telling you everything that you need to know about LinkedIn. You just haven't listened to them through that lens before and thought, what kind of content helps them get closer to their goals? And that's the magic secret that I'd love to share.
Amazing. And shameless plug, if you need help doing that customer research, clarifying your message, clarifying your offer, I'll be happy to help you. If you need help then going out and how to implement it best on LinkedIn, then Michelle is your person. So you have here a perfect combo. Michelle, thank you so much. It's been great. I have a ton more questions, but I'll shut up. There will be episode 2, maybe a bit later. Let's see if LinkedIn comes up with something. Or, if folks want to learn more, like me, we go and read your newsletter and read your post. Thank you so much.
Oh, it has been my absolute pleasure. Thanks for all the fabulous questions. And to the people that are listening, I wish you every success in 2026 and beyond.